Mmm, vanilla ice cream. Fade out the music. All right, today's all about vanilla ice cream. Today is all about the fact that AI will replace most coaches and consultants. Why? Because most coaches and consultants all sound the same. Now, they're not the same on the inside, but they're the same on the outside. And with the competition of the market, with a million different coaches running a million different funnels, and everyone's got marketing, and everyone's creating content, and everyone's putting out posts, and everyone's using ChatGPT, it means that they're going to get lost in the noise, and they're going to, fail. Fail as a business. It's harder than ever to run a coaching business because it's harder than ever to break through the noise. It's harder than ever to reach people. It's harder than ever to get any real quality message into the market unless you know what you're doing. And it's just going to get harder. So let me shed some light here, some ways that you can be differentiated, ways that you can show how you're different and better than the competition, ways you can articulate yourself so that you can say what you mean and mean what you say. That's pretty clear, wasn't it? First, let's start with the story. Let's start with the facts here. Amazon announced that 41,000 corporate jobs will have been cut since 2022. CEO Andy Jassy says AI can now do work that previously required humans. Very true, is it not? Meanwhile, 41% of employers worldwide plan to reduce workforce due to AI automation. Wow, 41% of employers worldwide plan to reduce workforce due to AI automation. Now, here's one thing. Here's one thing about AI automation and coaching and consultants. So AI can replace advice. AI can replace content. AI can replace all of the little bits of information, all of the frameworks that you have, all of the ideas, all of the problems, all of the solutions. AI can replace all of that stuff, but it can't replace your story. It can't replace your transformational story, which is a great thing because if you haven't been there, if you haven't done that as a coach, if you don't have a story, then you're not, then you're going to sound like everyone else because then you default to chat. Here's my audience. What are their problems? Okay, hey chat, what are some ideas for ways they can solve these problems? And then you have post after post after post. You can talk and you can talk and you can talk. But if you have a story about how you've transformed or how you've helped others transform, that's always a unique story, isn't it? That's always something that's unique. That's always something that's different and that can't be replicatable. So yeah, at the end of the day, transformational stories still win. I'll tell you a story right now. I'll tell you an unreplicable story right now that'll give some kind of nice wrapped up lesson here for you. So this is a story about how you can do a lot with a little, how you can do a lot of stuff under constraint because, and this is kind of really coming into this idea that I've been studying a lot about the difference between capitalism and socialism. The idea of having constraints and taking things away versus putting a lot of money into something. So it started, I was watching this talk by Milton Friedman, and he's talking about the idea that a lot of social systems, what they're doing is they're putting money into a system as a way to improve it. So you have something that's not working. Well, let's put more resources into this thing so that we can better improve it. Now, the flip side of that is, say, cutting funding to these things and saying, hey, this thing isn't working. Let's cut funding to it. Let's not just give more resources, but let's see more of what we can do with what it has. Something like that in a nutshell. So this is something that's happened to me in life, and that has extremely helped out my lead generation process in the past week or so. My ability to have better quality leads and better marketing under constraints. So rather than, and what I've been doing is finding new ways to generate leads, to reach out to new people, to come up with new lists, to reach out to second and third degree connections on LinkedIn, to use different email strategies, whatever that is, to use enrichment, to put money into an app called Lemlist that I'm using to enrich these leads, to get their email addresses and to get their LinkedIn profiles and to get all the information that I could ever need so I can have better outreaches. Well, instead of doing that, I did the opposite. I said, hey, instead of putting more money into client enrichment, instead of going after new leads, how can I get more out of the leads that I have right now? So what I did instead is I thought, okay, well, I have my first degree connections. How can I reach out to my first degree connections again? Because they're people that are already in my audience. I'm not going to have to pay for their email addresses, and they know me a bit more than other cold audiences, say second and third degree connections I'm sending emails to. How can I send messages to them? So then I came up with a new outreach, a new way to connect with these people. I thought, hey, let's take my same personalized outreach approach that I was doing for cold people, and let's send another message to my first degree connections, but let's just tweak it a little bit. Let's piggyback off of the previous message that I have and make this message a completely new one. And so now I'm getting almost a third better of a response rate sending this message to people in my first degree connections that I've already sent a message to about a month ago, and I'm getting a much better response rate, all because I decided to work under constraint. Rather than just pouring more gasoline onto a situation, rather than thinking I need more enrichment, I need new leads, I need more stuff, I said, how can I do better with what I have right now under a constraint, with less money, with less resources? And it's allowed me to innovate, allowed me to do more, and it's allowed me to have a better result. How amazing is that? Spending less money and getting better quality outreaches. More people saying, yes, Ryan, tell me more. Yes, Ryan, make me that video. Yes, I want to talk to you. Yes, I want to buy from you. That's literally what's happening under constraint. And it just made me think of this idea of, I don't know if it's capitalism versus socialism. I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is exactly, but it's some idea that how can people can do a lot under constraint, and people can actually innovate more when they're under constraint. People do better under pressure. When people don't have a lot, they find ways to innovate and they find ways to make things better. And I don't think it's a good idea that just because somebody is going through a tough time or they have a tough situation, that the answer is to give them things, that the answer is to, make their lives easier. Because when people struggle, when they have to use what they've got, and they're encouraged to do that, not stepped on, not squashed on, not given opportunity, but given people the opportunity and the encouragement to push through their limitations, to do better with what they have, that's how innovation happens. And that's how people get stronger. That's how people perform better. That's how they do better in their lives. Freedom under constraint. Freedom doesn't come from having everything. It doesn't come from having everything that you've always wanted and doing whatever you want. Freedom happens within the limitations of constraint. It happens under rule, under law. That's something I'm learning more about. That's something I'm figuring out here. Don't think the best way to help people is to make life easy for them, but it's to encourage them to do with what they have. That'll make their lives better. Good stuff, guys. Let's see. One thing, I think when people are thinking about having better marketing, a mistake they're making is investing into systems rather than investing into their messaging. So this is the difference between doing what everyone else is doing and sounding generic versus doing something that's really going to make you stand out and feel authentic and feel personable. So just because everyone else is out there with a funnel and a video sales letter doesn't mean that that's the right thing for you. Just because everyone has a landing page that looks beautiful and has this certain flow and they're saying all these same things that other executive coach is saying the same things this way, that you should be saying things like that too, because this is going falling victim to what we call the funnel first fallacy. It's the idea of putting tactics ahead of your messaging. When you put tactics ahead of your messaging, that's where you sound generic and you don't cut through the noise and people don't reach out to you and your stuff doesn't convert, because the tactics everybody can copy. Everybody can go to ChatGPT. Everyone can look at everyone else and copy tactics. But what they can't copy is great messaging. When you have a unique methodology that you articulate with a proprietary way of doing things, a unique look at the problems that your market is going through, call this your root cause, a unique take on how someone can be solving the problem, your big idea. We need to think about messaging first. When your core is unique, when your core is authentic, when your core sales messaging is unique and authentic, then all of the tactics automatically, by default, become differentiated and they start converting as a byproduct. So you can't think of tactics and ChatGPT and the funnel first and then try to differentiate yourself. It's not going to work. You have to think about your differentiation first, who you are, how you're different, what your methodology is, how to show the way that you're doing things in a visceral, visual, outcome, benefit dripping, rich way. And then all of your funnel, the tactics, then things will start building on top of each other. The pieces of your funnel will start talking. The ads are talking to the landing page, is talking to your webinar, is talking to your post-webinar email sequence, is talking to your content on the back end. So you got to start with the messaging first, and then your things will start converting. All right. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. Everyone, have a nice Tuesday. See you later.